Hey, warriors. So I want to slow things down a bit. There's a lot of noise out there right now. A lot of people talking about timelines, collapse, ascension, endings, beginnings, and honestly, it's getting all a bit too fucking exhausting for me. Okay? So today, I pulled some cards for the collective, not to predict the future, not to scare anyone, not to feed the fucking chaos, but to understand what is actually happening underneath all of this. And what came through was very clear, this is not something coming. This is something settling. The first card that I pulled was the Justice card. This tells me the collective is in a period of correction, not punishment, not judgment, correction. Okay? Truth is being restored quietly. Balance is being recalibrated internally. Okay? And a lot of people are realizing something that's, very uncomfortable. Some of the things we believed, some of the teachers we trusted, some of the narratives that we stood on don't quite actually sit right anymore, right? And that discomfort people are feeling, that's not fear. That's discernment waking the fuck up for us, you know? Justice shows up when your inner knowing starts getting louder than outside voices, right? This is why so many people suddenly feel allergic to spiritual noise, why, fear-based content feels intolerable. Um, why overconfidence and spiritual authority just feels, off. This isn't collapse. This is alignment returning. Okay? The next card that I pulled was the Three of Cups. And this is important because it softens everything. This card isn't about partying or celebration, it's about safe connection. Right now, people are craving real conversation, emotional safety, smaller and truer circles, right? Being seen without being told what to believe. This explains why a lot of people are pulling back from big platforms, big movements, big voices. The collective isn't isolating, it's filtering. And it's doing it a lot better. I mean, it's just awesome. We're moving away from, that group think mentality towards, a genuine resonance. You don't need a crowd, you need one or two people who feel like home, right? Um, Great, here comes my family. Um, but that's what's rebuilding, right now. The third card was the Page of Cups. And this is where, things get tender. This card shows emotional sensitivity returning, inner child awareness surfacing, feelings coming up that you don't quite yet have words for. This is why people, are crying for no reason, feeling nostalgic, more sensitive to, energy, creatively inspired, but, emotionally raw at the same time, I guess. The Page of Cups says your intuition isn't screaming, it's learning how to speak. Okay? A lot of people were disconnected from feeling anything for a very long time. Survival mode didn't allow space for it. Now that safety is slowly returning, emotions are coming back online. And this isn't regression, this is integration, which we kind of all knew, we were in that phase. The final card was the Queen of Pentacles. Sorry, I'll be back. Like I was saying, Queen of Pentacles was the last card that I pulled. And this card kind of ties everything together. This is the embodiment card. The grounding card, the bringing it into real life card, if you will. The collective is being guided, back into the body, the home, routine, nourishment, self-care, stability, not floating above reality, not escaping the world, not chasing higher dimensions, but being more present here, This card says something very important. Stability is the new ascension. You're not meant to disappear. You're not meant to transcend humanity. You're meant to heal inside it. Let me say this clearly. Nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is ending the way fear-based voices say it is. And you are not behind. I say this constantly. The collective is correcting imbalance, redefining community, relearning emotion, anchoring into grounded truth. You see what I'm saying? This is, we're learning how to mature. We're maturing, I guess, if you will. This is nervous system healing. This is wisdom replacing, spectacle. And it doesn't look flashy, it looks quiet. It just does, it looks boring to the ego. It looks slow. If you feel tired, that makes sense. If you feel done with noise, then good. If you feel pulled inward, follow that. You're not meant to figure everything out right now. You're meant to stabilize, This isn't ascension through chaos, This is ascension through grounding. And that's how lasting change, actually happens. If this landed, let it land. If you don't, you don't need to believe it. Just notice how it feels in your body. I love you.